Welcome to the Doom Hunter base. For once, we don't go back to the Doom Fortress of Solitude thing. So, yeah, occasionally you kind of have levels back to back in this game. It's a little weird on their pacing.
I guess they're trying to play the hub area thing a little bit more straight and not have it just be like your Mario Castle of Paintings, but an actual organic part of the game's world.
Whoa. Well, what is there to do in the, like, I know there's like a training area and whatnot, but is it just like there to dick around with after?
No, it holds a lot of power-ups and stuff that you use the batteries on.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
There's like upgrades hidden behind doors that you gotta come back to later once you have the batteries to open it.
I sure do love train car stages in first person where if you try to back up the way you would in a normal level, you're constantly falling off the goddamn thing. Yeah, well.
Is there like inertia with the train where if you jump you get like pushed back?
Thank God.
Oh, God. Okay.
I don't know. It's just that stages like this really make me feel the lack of spatial awareness that is that even the right word? That you get when you're playing a first-person video game. Because in real life, you may have noticed, but your eyeballs are round, and you also have a sense of touch.
What?
And screens are flat.
Yeah, so not only can you not see as much in a first-person game, you also can't feel all the other stuff that tells your brain information about your surroundings. So
what you're telling me is that this game needs to be in VR.
Even in VR, it wouldn't really help. Because, like...
I like in Metal Gear Solid 3 when they lampshade that aspect of video games.
Wait, which part of that? What?
When Snake's getting some training from Boss, and she's like, "No, you have to use all your senses to your benefit on the battlefield." It's like, I can't smell anything.
I remember that now. And that's a good point because
Metal Gear Solid 6, you can smell.
That is a good point because in a jungle environment, smells would be an important source of information for you. Like, you could smell gunpowder. That probably means there's humans nearby. Because gunpowder is not a natural jungle smell, obviously.
I don't know. Don't you know about the gunpowder spewing venom snakes?
I mean, it's Snake, and he has gunpowder on him because he has bullets.
Wasn't Venom Snake like the code name from Metal Gear Solid 5?
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Gunpowder spewing venom.
Okay,
snakes.
fine. Gunpowder spewing jaguars.
There's probably a member of Foxhound with a Jaguar codename at some point, for all I know.
Why does your cat smell like gunpowder?
Long and tragic backstory about the battlefield and blah-de-blah-de-blah.
War is jaguars, which is...
Jaguars
war.
for war.
Jaguars are hell.
I mean, I wouldn't want to fuck with one. I don't know about you.
Especially a Jaguar CD. That thing looks impossible to get running.
Oh, God.
There
was a Doom port on Jaguar, wasn't there?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one without music.
Okay, I'd like to retract my statement from the last part. It actually does have music, but you have to choose. Because of how poorly optimized the Jaguar was, you had to choose between music or sound effects. You couldn't have both.
Wow. I think it was the 32X version that didn't have music. I say this because the 32X version was my introduction to Doom.
You had a 32X?
I didn't have a 32X. I just lived in the same house as someone who happened to have bought one. So I had a chance to play, like, Doom and maybe one other game on the 32X, and that was it.
Wow, they had the whole 32X library? That's impressive.
Well, they didn't have Knuckles Chaotix, so no. They were very much
Oh, they
lacking
only
90...
had 2/3 of the library. Okay.
God.
That, I think, is still one of my favorite AVGN series is the Sega CD video and then the 32X video right after. And then he's talking about the Sega CD 32X games where you needed both. And it's like, if you happen to have both this pile of garbage and this hunk of shit, you can use both. It's like, oh god.
Yeah.
That video is probably older than a substantial amount of the people watching, which I don't know what that says about me. But
I mean, I remember watching that as a kid.
yeah, you see, you probably shouldn't have been watching the AVGN.
No, I really shouldn't have, but I did.
Oh man. I mean, I was, oh god, AVGN. I probably saw like 2007. So I was like 14. I think I was probably the absolute youngest I should have been. Because teenagers watch shit that they shouldn't. I feel like that's kind of part of...
Well, teenage ages are the weird gray area. It just kind of depends on the kid thing.
Rebellion.
I mean, I'm old enough to remember AVGN before he was on, like, YouTube and shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
back
when it
when you
was
had to
only
go to, like,
his
game trailers.
website? Oh,
Yeah,
game
yeah.
trailers, yeah. I was so sad when I found out that game trailers died, but they're still basically around with easy allies, so you should follow them because they're pretty cool people. IMO. Yes, I say IMO out loud. Don't judge me. Anyway.
LOL.
SMH.
Whenever I hear funny thing, I say LOL and then BRB when I use the bathroom.
Okay.
When has anybody ever, in the history of their life, actually said LOL typing when they actually were laughing out loud?
Probably never.
People in the early days, maybe.
The reason people rely so heavily on those shorthand versions of expression is because they think emotes are too, you know, cutesy cute for their sensibilities, but they also don't have a strong enough handle on written English to just convey tone through punctuation. So, yeah. Either that or they just don't have enough faith in whoever's reading for them to pick up on tone through punctuation. Even though that's basically what punctuation exists to do.
No one uses punctuation.
It feels like it sometimes.
It depends on who I'm writing, on who I'm like talking to or DMing or whatever.
I mean, familiarity is also a key component in understanding things like that.
Like there are some, I remember like I have some friends who, this was back when Skype was a more of a thing among nerd communities, where like we would talk to each other and basically write giant novels, each one at a time, and so our conversations lasted like 20 minutes between people talking, because that's how like effectively formally we were. And then like 6 months later, it's just like, lol, what? When you are just stupid, you know, it devolves into caveman talk, basically.
Well, it's just, this is a pet peeve of mine. A lot of people, including younger me, say, oh, it's so hard to convey tone through just text. But then you get used to actually reading text in English, and you realize English has all the equipment you need to convey tone through text. People just don't use it. So
it's almost as if written literature would not have been able to exist for several thousand years
Without that ability.
without that ability, yeah.
well, I mean, it's not like people didn't communicate through exclusively text before the internet either. I mean, we didn't have the kind of transportation we do now. If people wanted to have a relationship of any kind, platonic or otherwise, over any kind of distance, they had to do it by exchanging letters. So
The fuck is that? The hell kind of nonsense are you on about, Lewis? I don't believe it.
And there was quite a lot of distance in our country to communicate over. In case you haven't noticed, it's a large continent. So yes, people exchanged letters fairly frequently. So punctuation, we can convey tone through it. That's basically its entire job. But, you know, Now that we're on the internet and we take that stuff for granted, we just use smiley faces.
Hey man, I like emojis. Okay, some of them are cute.
Imagine
Colon open parenthesis. Colon open parenthesis.
Imagine if fucking Thomas Jefferson had a pen friend and they didn't use punctuation at all, so they were actually just writing out little smiley faces in their letter exchanges.
You know, it's just I feel like there's nothing on this planet that is funnier to me than the thinking face emoji. I love that stupid thing so much. It's just like,
well, you know what?
I love the
emoji.
I love the more and more distorted ones.
Oh yeah.
That kind of emoji actually does serve a purpose because I don't think there's punctuation that can convey the same feeling. So, you know.
My favorite one is when it comes to the distorted versions of that, it's when you and the squad don't know a goddamn thing, and it's the distorted thinking face emojis, but with the Dragon Quest heroes' heads on them, headpieces on them. It is just like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Now,
I think I've seen that one.
I'm watching all of this platforming, and I'm realizing that this is one of those first-person shooters that just completely bypasses the problem of first person being horrible for platforming by never having you actually worry about landing on anything, because you can basically jump forever.
Yep.
And most of the platforming is less about landing on things and more about just getting your character to a place where they automatically cling to something.
Well, you do have to press the button to cling to walls, but it's very lenient.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but even Tomb Raider did that, and it wasn't particularly difficult in Tomb Raider either. So, I mean, as long as in Tomb Raider's case, as long as you just remember to hold down the button, you would grab the thing. Is it like that here?
The game is. Wait, say that again?
No, you don't hold the button. You click it as you get close.
Yeah, you just tap it.
Oh yeah, to dash you have to like tap in the what is it's called, the control stick, right?
No, to dash is a button. To cling on to what specific walls is clicking the right stick.
Oh, okay.
Which button do you use to dash?
On the PlayStation controller, circle.
Oh, okay, face buttons for
I
that.
That's
mean,
a good
it's-
button
I-
for that. Yeah.
I mean, it's all mappable, so you can make it whatever you want.
Whoa.
You're probably not steering while you're dashing, so...
No, you can't really steer
Man,
while you're dashing. You're committed to the.
It's really weird to think back on a time when this control style, where the guns were controlled by the shoulder buttons and navigation was controlled by the face buttons. It's so weird to think that that style was foreign to our sensibilities at any point.
Oh my god. I last too many games back when that was a thing. I picked up a PS2 copy of Quake 3 just because I thought the novelty of it sounded cool, and the default like stick controls, it was like half inverted of what we're used to today. Like left stick is tank controls, you move forward and back but look left to right, and the right stick is the opposite. It moves you left and right but looks up and down.
Oh yeah, it was like really late into the PlayStation 1's library that someone finally pioneered the current style of console FPS control. That was Alien Resurrection, I think, of all games.
Whoa,
And I remember the review for that, I think, on like EGM or something, who said the controls are really scary because they don't fucking work. It's like, yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's something that I distinctly remember, is that, yeah, the reviews for Alien Resurrection were basically talking about how weird the controls were and how they would never catch on. Man. How wrong they were. Now basically every FPS on consoles controls that way. Because, you know, it's a really convenient and intuitive control scheme once you get down to it. You control your guns with the shoulder buttons, which means you never have to take your thumbs off the sticks. And you only put stuff on the face buttons if it's something that you can do without swiveling the camera around.
I mean, it's mostly just for jumping at this point, but...
Yeah. Stuff that you can do just by moving straight ahead, in other words.
You know, one thing that I want to say PlayStation and Xbox are doing it now, but that's one thing that I actually kind of liked about the Steam controller back when that was new, is that you can bind face buttons to like these triggers on the handles. So like they're always in your grasp, and I thought that was neat. But
we have 3 other fingers on our hands to use instead of just our thumbs and our
This
index fingers.
Steam controller.
Okay. So
oh god, did I just hit a nerve?
Not exactly a nerve, exactly. I bought this thing very late. I'm trying to dig it out of my drawer right now. Hang on, I think I might have found it. No, that's my Wii Classic.
So, question for you guys. When you're
Uh-oh.
playing games on consoles, do you use both your middle and index fingers for R1, R2, etc.? Or do you do what I do and move your index finger from one to the other as needed?
It actually depends on the
game.
game for me.
Yeah.
Okay, because I cannot hold both, like, trigger and bumper at the same time. It is weird, and I don't like it. This is probably because I grew up with the GameCube and then the Wii, which both didn't really have triggers and bumpers effectively. Like, the GameCube just had triggers. There was the Z button, but you never needed both fingers on that ever in any game.
No games really used the Z button like that.
Yeah, it was effectively just like the select button in any game that ever used it. And then even on the Wii Classic controller, there wasn't a second button anyway. So I get to the Wii U and it's just like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this button here? How am I supposed to press it? This is wrong. It's actually, you want to know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of how my siblings used to play N64 Mario Kart, where they would hold the N64 controller like by the left and right handles and then reach their like pinky all the way around to
try
the
and
Z
hit
button
Z.
underneath the
God.
control stick.
Ugh.
And
I found it.
you found it?
I got this like as it was on its way out for $5. It's got
Nice.
4 face buttons and analog stick, and it's got the shoulder buttons you would expect, and it also has these little triggers behind the handle as a sort of third set of shoulder buttons, which is all like really good. But then the D-pad is the circle pad thing, and the
Yep,
second
it's
analog
a-
stick is also a circle pad.
Yeah,
Oh, gross.
the D-pad and the second or the right analog stick are basically laptop trackpads
Yeah.
that you control with your thumb, which I thought was a cool idea because like I'm mostly a PC gamer. I never really used a controller.
I think-
And so the idea of like having mouse-like accuracy, or at least I thought, was a cool idea, but it just didn't work in execution for me.
The thing is, the reason people use gamepads is so that they can have tactile feedback for every button.
Yeah.
And the circle pads defeat that. So,
Maybe we'll talk about the level next time in Doom Eternal.
maybe.
Yeah.
That's a
Yay.
stretch.
I wouldn't count on it, though.